Welcome back to Telling Stories. I'm your host, Mr. Story, and today we'll be reading Bob the Dog, written by Rodrigo Folguera and illustrated by Polly Bernatine. Mark and Bob the dog were playing in the park one day. They were running and laughing so hard that they didn't see the tiny little yellow bird. Bob began to sob. "Oh, I've eaten him," he cried. "I've eaten the tiny innocent little birdie wordy." Mark tried to comfort him, but Bob didn't eat birds. He sobbed and wailed and howled. Then Bob's tummy made a strange noise. Tweet! "He's alive, Bob!" cried Mark. And then a little voice spoke. "My name is Jeremy the canary, and I'm hiding in here." And he wouldn't say another word. "Oh dear," said Mark. "I think we'd better get some help." Bob and Mark gathered all their friends, Roger the rabbit, Kathy the cat, and of course, Oscar the owl. First, Kathy the cat tried blowing pepper up Bob's nose to make Jeremy come out with a sneeze. But that didn't work. It just made Bob fall over. Next, Roger Rabbit tried bouncing on Bob's belly to make Jeremy pop out with a burp. Boing, boing, boing. But that didn't work. It just made Bob feel sick. Then Oscar the owl tried shaking Bob to make Jeremy fall out. Whoa! But that didn't work either. It just made Bob feel dizzy. "Please," yelled Mark, "somebody help my dog." Suddenly they heard a deafening roar. "Jeremy!" bellowed the big canary. "Mommy?" said Jeremy. "You better believe it's Mommy," she boomed. Bob felt a flutter in his tummy. And Jeremy the canary appeared. "I'm sorry," he said in a small voice. "I just didn't want to clean my room." "Well," said Mommy, "if you don't want to clean your room, you can always clean Bob's room." And Jeremy never complained about cleaning his own room ever again. The Minosaur by Sudipta Bardhan-Quallen, illustrated by David Clark. One morning, before Miss Raptor rang the bell, the dinosaurs were playing in the schoolyard. All of a sudden they heard a roar. "Mine! Mine! Mine!" "Oh no," muttered Stegosaurus. "Here comes the Minosaur." He snatched the jump rope and the ball. He threw the cars against the wall, and then he roared to one and all, "Mine! Mine! Mine!" Iguanodon said, "That's not fair." Triceratops said, "You should share." But the Minosaur yelled, "I don't care, they're mine, mine, mine." Right then the bell rang. The Minosaur hugged the toys and sighed, "All mine." "You're late," Miss Raptor said when the Minosaur finally came to class. "Now you'll have to paint your project during snack time." By the time the Minosaur finished, snack time was in full swing. The Minosaur rushed on ahead. He snatched the scones and strudel bread. He bit the butter tarts and said, "They're mine, mine, mine." "That's our food," yelled Apatosaur. "No, it's not," cried Minosaur, and soon there was a tug-of-war as he wailed, "Mine!" "The rest of the class can go out for recess," Miss Raptor said. "You will stay here until you clean up this mess." The Minosaur scowled and bit into a scone. "At least the food's all mine," he grumbled. But the feast wasn't as much fun when it was made for one. At recess, the Minosaur saw the other dinos having fun building a tower. His arms were flailing all around. The tower tumbled to the ground. He grabbed a bunch of blocks and frowned. "They're mine, mine, mine!" "How could you?" yelled Iguanodon. "It's wrecked now," said Pterodon. The Minosaur said, "Oh, come on, these blocks are mine." The dinos rolled their eyes. Finally, Triceratops said, "Let's go, guys." "I don't need them anyway," said the Minosaur. "I'll build a better tower by myself." "Look at this," he shouted, "the biggest tower ever!" But there was no dino around to hear. At the other end of the yard, the rest of the dinos were laughing and playing. They didn't seem to miss the Minosaur at all. The Minosaur began to shake. "There's nothing left for me to take. No toys at all, for goodness sake. And they don't care?" The Minosaur wanted to laugh and play too, so he gathered up all the stuff that was his and headed toward the dinos. The Minosaur asked, "Want some snacks?" The other dinos turned their backs. "I brought the blocks for us to stack. Come on, let's share." The Minosaur tried saying, "Please, I brought some toys, I'll give you these." The dinos stared down at their knees. They just didn't care. "Okay then," said the Minosaur. He put all the stuff down. "You guys should play." The dinos looked at each other. "Isn't this your stuff?" asked Stegosaurus. The Minosaur shook his head. "I shouldn't have taken it." The Minosaur was still walking when he heard the dinos shout, "Wait!" "They said we want to play with you," said Minosaur. "You really do?" The dinos nodded. "Yes, it's true. If you'll share, it's fine." The Minosaur yelled, "It's a deal. I have the thing I want." He squealed, "You don't know how this makes me feel. My friends, you're mine. Mine, mine, mine." Monsters Eat Whiny Children by Bruce Eric Kaplan. Henry and Eve's house. The neighbors, where Henry totally freaked out one Halloween. Park, where Henry and Eve go every day almost. The library, where Henry and Eve like to be too loud. The store, where people think Eve is a boy. Place where Henry and Eve lost their little stroller. Farmer's market, where Henry once ran away. Restaurant, where kind man gives Henry and Eve ice cream. Apartment, where Eve broke the toilet. Pond, where Henry dove in because he needed to grab a fish. And the monster's lair. Once there were two perfectly delightful children who were going through a terrible phase, which is to say they whined all day and night. "I want to go outside," whined Henry. "Outside, outside," whined Eve. "Where's my phone?" whined Henry. "No grilled cheese," whined Eve, and so on. Their kindly father warned them that monsters eat whiny children. They didn't believe him, so they whined and whined until finally one day a monster came and stole them away. He brought them back to his lair on the bad side of town. He began making a whiny child salad. "I don't like sitting on lettuce," Henry whined. "No wooden bowl," whined Eve. The monster made dressing, poured it on Henry and Eve, and called his wife in for dinner. She sampled the dressing and spat it out. "I hate cilantro," she screamed. "Start again, and this time use paprika." "I hate paprika," said the monster. "No, you don't," said his wife. "Okay," he sighed. So he hosed off Henry and Eve and made a new dressing with paprika. His wife tasted it. "I love it," she said. Everything was perfect. But just as Henry and Eve were about to get back into the wooden bowl, a neighbor dropped by and asked the monsters what they were doing. When they told him, the neighbor totally freaked out. "You've got two wonderfully whiny children, and you're going to make a stupid salad," he said. "All week long, all I've wanted were whiny child burgers. Let's grill these kids up now. Yum!" The monster and his wife thought for a moment. The neighbor said, "Come on, I can't wait another second. I think I even dreamed about whiny child burgers last night." "Okay," said the monster. His wife sighed because this meant she had to clean their grill, which was disgusting. So they got the grill out from the back of the garage, cleaned it, and tried to make a good fire. But the monster couldn't do it, nor his wife, nor his neighbor, because it's hard to get a fire going sometimes. Henry started to whine, but then got distracted by a ball. He rolled it over to Eve while the monsters were cursing at the grill. Finally, they asked the neighbor's cousin to come over, since he was good with grills. But he couldn't start a fire either, so he kicked a hole in the fence and said, "You should make a whiny child cake anyway." The monster's wife says she couldn't eat sweets because her bottom was too big. Everyone told her she was crazy. "Besides, I hate baking," she said. "I'll do it," said the neighbor's cousin. He started to assemble the ingredients to make a cake, but there was a terrible accident, and the flour spilled all over the floor. So now they couldn't make the cake. Plus, the oven had been preheating, so the kitchen was hot and everyone was sweaty. "Why does everything have to be so hard?" asked the monster. "Anything worth doing involves a struggle," offered the neighbor. Henry felt bad for the monster, so he rolled the ball over to him. The monster bounced it against the wall and felt a little better. Eve looked around for something else to play with. She found some cars in the corner. She pushed one over to Henry, who happily made it crash into another car. "We could make some rice, put a little curry on them, and have an Indian dish," someone suggested half-heartedly. "Perhaps a whiny child vindaloo?" They all tried to figure out if they were in the mood for Indian food. Sometimes it's so hard to figure out if you're in the mood for Indian food. As the monster's wife looked for some trucks to give to Henry and Eve, she thought about the last time she had ate Indian food. It hadn't agreed with her, and she wondered if that would happen again. No Indian food, she decided. "What is going on in here?" someone yelled in a loud nasal voice. Everyone turned around to find the monster's aunt entering, angry at the world as she always was. They told her about their day, and she just yelled at them. "For Pete's sake," she said, hitting the neighbor's cousin with some spittle because she had a saliva problem, "you should just make a simple whiny child cucumber sandwich." "Yes, yes, yes, yes," they all said and jumped up and down. It's such a relief to finally figure out what the right thing to eat is. "Enough of this nonsense," said the monster's aunt. "Let's start making the sandwiches." The monster excitedly went to the cupboard and found a nice loaf of healthy 12-grain bread. "For Pete's sake," his aunt spat, "everyone knows you need fluffy white bread." The monster explained that he hadn't eaten white bread in years, but the neighbor quickly ran next door and came back with the fluffiest white bread anyone had ever seen. Next, they had to add the whiny children, but they turned around to find that Henry and Eve had somehow escaped. So they all sat down and ate the cucumber sandwiches, which, well, not like the ones with whiny children, were absolutely delicious anyway. And here's the recipe: cucumber sandwiches. Number 1. Lay out slices of fluffy white bread. Number 2. Spread mayonnaise or cream cheese or butter all over them. Number 3. Slice some cucumbers and put on some of the bread. Number 4. Put the rest of the bread on top, and they are all ready to serve. Meanwhile, Henry and Eve ran back home and never whined again. Although, to tell you the truth, every now and then they did. Stick and Stone. by Beth Ferry and Tom Lichtenheld. Stick, stone, lonely, alone, a 0, a 1. Alone is no fun. Stick, stone, along comes Pinecone, makes fun of stone, won't leave him alone. Vanish, says Stick. His word does the trick. Stone whispers, "Gee, you stuck up for me." That's just what sticks do. Friends do it too. Stick, stone, no longer alone. Stick, stone, a friendship has grown. They wander, explore, lays by the shore. Then thunder and rain, a loud hurricane. Stick is wind blown, there goes Pinecone. Hold on, calls out Stone. Again, he's alone. Search day, stick, 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 and search night. No stick in sight. What's this? A huge puddle? Stick stuck in the muddle. Stone rescues him quick. Cowabunga! Kersploosh! You rock, Stone, says Stick. That's just what stones do. Best friendship rocks too. Stick, stone, together again. Stick, stone, a perfect 10. To the end. Sorry I needled you so much. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you enjoyed the stories today, and if you did, please leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and help support the authors. They're all listed in the description box down below. If you'd like to check out another video, you can do so here. And until next time, I've been Mr. Story, you've been at Telling Stories, and we'll see you in the next video.